Hey guys, good evening. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Welcome to IFYL. That's Inspirations for Your Life. And thank you so much for popping in. It is Monday, February 26th, 2024, and welcome. So, whether you're here at just a few minutes to 8 at night or a few minutes to 8 in the morning, I'm so glad that you popped by, or 3 a.m., 3 p.m., or even 12 noon or 12 midnight. Doesn't matter. Just thanks so much for being here. And let's get on with the master topic, which you guys know what that is: challenges that happen at work. We're on series 3, which means the third year, show 9. And our master topic, the granular topic, I should say, for the night, is navigating workplace challenges, overcoming insufficient training and conflicts. Series 3, show 9, episode number 3, everyone. So when we think about insufficient training, like what does that have to deal with when we say insufficient training? What is that about? Well, insufficient training can happen because management just presumes you should know something. Maybe employees coming on might have worked in a similar capacity, like, for example, maybe they were in the restaurant industry before, and you have a restaurant, but they're not familiar with the way you do things. It could be because maybe they worked at a fast food, and maybe you're a fine dine. It could be because maybe they did things with manual tickets and you do things with a computer system and they're not versed with it, or vice versa, right? So insufficient training can happen not just in the workplace, it can happen in life. And so the question you might be asking me, John, is, so do we solve how do we solve the problem? How do we solve the problem of insufficient training in the workplace? How do we solve that, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we have to allocate resources, develop comprehensive training strategies, um, get people that want others to be on board, make people accountable, identify the training needs, put together a program, engage people, reward people for training, and make the training fun. See, that's what happens when you get to understand that insufficient training is just something that's a process that needs to be fixed. Now, the consequences, ladies and gentlemen, of insufficient training are, I mean, they're numerous. You get poor employees that don't want to work, employees that just want to quit because they don't know how to do things and they're frustrated. You get compliance issues, you get legal issues, you get knowledge gaps between workers. You get increased business costs because you got to do things over and over again because many people aren't doing it right. And so I think it's to address the whole fact that training needs to be ongoing. I don't care whether you're a Fortune 500 company, whether you're a small mom and pop, you've got to make sure that training is ongoing. So let me go back to my past a little bit. So my mom had a dry cleaning plant, started when I was only in second grade and went for many, many years. And so when people came in, they thought they knew what a dry cleaners was. But then when we asked them to mark clothes, they thought they got it. But then we asked them, you had to mark clothes? Yeah, 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 yeah. But then when we see that they put the tag on the clothes, or they put it in the wrong spot, or instead of putting it in the belt loop on the back, right? Or they're stapling to the garment, which is terrible. We're always taught that you should take whatever it is, like if it's going to belt loop, you go through the belt loop and then you go ticket to ticket and you clip 2 staples. Okay, is what we always did. And you want to make sure you're using a great stapler. One of the biggest nemesis is using a stapler that doesn't staple properly. And that can be a real problem. It was the stapler that was jamming, you didn't properly fix it. And so the thing is, when things are not marked right up front, it causes a headache for everyone. It causes a headache for the person that's taking things out of the dry clean machine and hanging them up. It causes a headache for the people that are bagging them. And then it also causes a headache for, yes, the people working there trying to bring the clothes to those at the counter. And of course, the customer or the client is very upset because they can't get their clothes, right? They're lost. Imagine you bringing 4 suits to the dry cleaners, and your favorite suit they can't seem to find the pants to. Maybe because four other people came in with a similar suit and your suit went with theirs and it got confused, and all because the clothes didn't get marked right. So you have to know that you got to mark things correctly. You've got to check the ticket. If the ticket says there's 8 items, you check that there's 8 items in the bag and you make sure it has eight tickets. We had put a system in and had written a system that basically would print the tags as you went by. So it made it very easy. But if somebody took the order in wrong, well, then you were up a tree. And now there's a liability and accountability issue of like, well, how many clothes were actually in the bag? I don't know. So you immediately had to call the customer. Remember you said there were 8 shirts? Well, there were actually 10. Oh, yeah, no problem. You can put 2 in. But let's say there was 10 and, there's only 8. Yeah, I got to fix that. I got to correct that. That can cause a big issue. So a lot of people, kids that would come in and we would train, would do this, but then they wouldn't understand the fact that if they mark clothes wrong, it could be a huge, huge headache, not just for us, but for the client and for them, because now the big issue is, let's say it's the end of the day and everything's all bagged and we think everything's great. But for some reason, the person on the line that was matching things up thought they matched them up correctly, but really they were matched up wrong because they tried to figure out the sizes were right. They tried to figure things out, but they got it wrong. And most of the times they do get it right, but they do get it wrong sometimes. And when they get it wrong, guess what happens? Sometimes those clothes don't get returned. And yes, we have to pay out for those clothes. I can tell you, being in business, I think the amount of times that we had lost a pair of pants might have been one time in over 30 some years. So that's not too bad. And the reason it happened is because people marking were careless. They weren't putting the tickets on right. That they weren't taking the initiative to make sure that their job, their role, their responsibility was being carried out. Everyone in the plant has a job. And if you don't do it properly, well, then it's better off to not even do it and have someone else do your job, because that can just cause a huge, huge problem. And you're going to get resentment from other team members and places like that. You know why? Because people don't get the fact that it is important that everyone follows a process. That is very, very important. And if you don't know what the process is, well, then speak up. All right, let's talk about another thing that happens in the workplace. That's conflicts. Conflicts. So conflicts happen in the workplace, okay? There could be some disagreements among employees, team members, and even diversity issues. Sometimes a joke, which you think is funny, a lady might not take that funny, or another guy might not take that funny, or you might call somebody a name and be, innocent about it, but really you've hurt them. And I always said this to you, whenever you either use your mouth or use your body in any way that makes someone feel inferior, harms them physically, mentally, or emotionally, well, you're discriminating against them. And of course, we have rules now called inclusion. We didn't even have that back then. Of course, it was assumed, but now conflicts happen, and it rears its head mostly around personal differences. And so if your company has a strong culture of support, positivity, and the tolerance of this, you can handle this and address this as a learning issue. Conflicts and disputes may arise between team members with different perspectives, viewpoints. There are several people who will always have some conflicts or problems. And there could be disagreements about the process, the target, the working style, the way you do things, the plan, the colors you use, right? There could be a lot of things, but types of challenges in the workplace are conflicts. And conflicts is a big one, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's a huge, huge big one. So when we think about other conflicts in the workplace, right? What are some other conflicts that could happen in the workplace? If you just had to ask yourself, what are some other conflicts in the workplace? Well, you could have an issue with management, right? It could be about your personality. It could be because of miscommunication. It could be an interdependence, task-based conflict. Could be a leadership conflict. Could be a work style conflict. A personality-based conflict, a discrimination conflict, or even the creativity type of conflict. Maybe I want to sit a certain way, or I want to look a certain way or do something. And that might offend somebody, but it shouldn't. So when we think about conflicts, because I know this is not an easy thing, the first one that'll come to mind is going to be disagreement amongst employees because opposing interests, personalities, beliefs, or ideas. And everybody wants to be right. I hear you. But when being right is going to cause a fight or is going to cause a productivity issue, then I think we got a serious problem. And so it's not about being right, it's about doing what's right for the good of all concerned. Let me say that again. It's not about being right. It's about doing what's right for the good of all parties concerned. See that's the important thing, ladies and gentlemen. But many people don't get this, and training awfully doesn't happen until there are potential legal let's say disputes that are brought against the company, or maybe until a lot of money or productivity is lost and many errors are resulting, and that's costing a ton of money. Or maybe there are compliance warnings that are coming out. If you don't take care of them, you'll be fined a lot of money, especially within the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, or the what they call the it's called the GMP, um, Good Manufacturing Practices, also referred to as CGMP. And it's part of quality assurance and assures that things like medicinal products are consistently produced and controlled in the quality standards that are appropriate to the intended use by the appropriate specification. So it's like a Q&A, but it's a higher type of standard. And GMP would be instead of um, the requirements can be adaptable while ISO, ICH, and FDA are more consistent. GMP is a flexible and adaptable, where ISO, ICH, and FDA are not, uh, adaptable. GMP is a principle-based framework, providing guidance and recommendations for quality standards. And so, if you're working for a company, maybe it's a large corporation, could be a restaurant, could be it could be a variety of things. It could be a retail store, could be a camp, um, could be an office, right? A manufacturing plant. There are standards that are put in place not to drive you crazy, but to keep everyone safe and to do things in the most productive, efficient manner, and to assure that standard is withheld. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't know who I am right now, well, I'm going to tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and I am a podcast host, and of course, a podcast coach. And I'm a specialist in helping businesses tell their story so they'll be able to scale and, of course, be more profitable. Now, I typically do work with companies that bring in 10 million or more, and they know what their truth is about, or they want to learn what their truth is about. I'm your guy. I love to write about truth. That's all I write about. I only will publish releases when I learn what the truth is about, what the story is about. If you know your story, great. I'm going to research it and make sure it really is true. If you don't know your story, I'm also happy to help you find the truth. I've had so many people say, hey, John, can you just put down we're the best? We're this, we're that. I'm like, no. Then they want to pay me more. I'm like, no. I believe what I do. And being a member of the international press for many years, I take it very seriously how I write things down on paper or using technology like a word processor. To me, words are how I make people understand what's going on. But I don't ever want to put words down on paper that are going to confuse people, that are going to muddle the issue, or that are going to give somebody a higher status than what they truly deserve. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your night. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to catch you when? Yes, tomorrow. Next time you catch me, I will be back home. Had a great traveling week here. It was great being away for my birthday. And I do thank all of you guys for the wonderful wishes for my birthday, and also the belated wishes. I thank those as well. They always say better late than never. So I do say thank you to everyone that expressed happy birthday to me, that wished me well, or any kind of good luck on my birthday, or within the few days after. Thank you so much. It means so much to me that I get to be here with you and I get to share things. But hey, go visit Believe Me Achieve.com. And when you do that, you'll be able to check out all my great content. Be sure to my great stuff, which I have on for all kinds of things like TikTok. We'd love to get over 1,000 followers. So help us reach that goal. All right, everyone. Have yourself a great night, and I'll catch you real soon. Be well, everyone. Take care.